Hello, guys, again to Ultrasound, where we are now talking about the Illuvium game. We're in the second part of the game overview that they've got in their white paper. We just talked about team building, and if you are and a bunch of other stuff beforehand. If you are interested in hearing anything about that, then go to our part one of this, or go to the podcast where the whole thing will just be all up together. So Josh, we're ready. We're going into affinities.
Ready to rock.
Heck
Let's
yeah.
do it.
All right, affinities. The origins of Illuvials themselves is a mystery, but so is their affinity to the elements of this alien world. Illuvials connect predominantly with one of the 5 elements: water, fire, earth, air, and nature. Oh, it reminds me of Avatar. Did you ever watch Avatar?
I did actually see that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm talking about the last Airbender Avatar.
Oh, I'm talking about The Last Airbender
Oh,
as well.
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I was actually disappointed that they didn't make a part 2.
Wait, did you do Korra?
Wait, I'm actually so I'm talking about the I'm not talking about the cartoon. So the cartoon probably has multiple, right?
Wait, you're talking about the movie. You're not talking about the cartoon.
The movie. Oh yeah, I'm talking about the movie.
Screw the movie, bro. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I thought it was cool that they brought that to life.
No, it is. It's nothing compared to the show.
That's true.
Well, we could fuss. I could fuss about how you have to watch that. But water, fire, earth, air, and nature. The most powerful ascended form affinities with 2 elements: frost equals air and water, or a stronger bond with a single element: inferno equals fire and fire. Interesting. Okay. Make sure your team is strategically chosen. Your how do you say that? Arcleon?
Archelian?
Achillian? Oh, yeah. Well, might be strong with your overgrowth affinity, nature plus nature. But in combat with an infernal alluvial, they will be at a severe disadvantage, so choose wisely. I'm quite interested about this, because with teamfight tactics, right? And
yep.
this is where it's going to be different from teamfight tactics tremendously, I imagine. So with teamfight tactics, all of us get the same chances. Like I could build the exact same team as you. You're not choosing out of your team that you have made. The game where you differ from another person is how you play the game and your skins.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure, like, maybe I'm wrong about that, but from what I understand, whenever I jump in, I do not have a team. I don't have a pre-made team. I just go in, I choose from anyway, you just find yourself in a bunch of choices, and you're managing money to be able to buy more of these characters and selling some that you don't want to buy new ones. And so anyway, but with this game, like Pokemon, you're building out your deck and then you're going to battle. And so I may verse you, which will be quite fun, right? We'll be versing each other as well.
Yeah.
And if you guys didn't know this, because if you're new to this, you won't, you'll be able to wager Ethereum against whoever you want. And whoever wins takes it all. So that's pretty funny. But if I know that...
How cool, before you move on real quick, how cool would it be if you could also wager Illuvials?
I don't know if I'd be willing to part ways with my NFTs.
But if you're that confident and you can scoop up a group of their Illuvials, that'd be pretty nice.
Pink slips. Yep. Too scary,
yes.
bro. It's too scary.
Yes. We're racing for pinks.
But you know what? When this all gets cranking, I reckon, like, we'll with the community, we can let's run comps and stuff, like, and like, I reckon that'll be so. Oh man, there's gonna be so much of that. It'll be so sick.
For sure.
but yeah, what I was sort of saying is that if I knew that you just had this mad, you just doubled down on fire. You just were like, heck to the yeah, I love fire. And I was just like, look, he is just so emotionally attached to his fire. He's going to be playing fire. I'm just going to make sure, even though it's not my best team, I'm just going to make sure that I just have a water team, you know?
Water team, yeah.
But you're so emotional fire that I know I can just use my weaker team, but it's all water and I'm going to win. That's basically what this is saying, is that there are weaknesses based on the element that these guys have, the affinities that they have. Very cool.
So prior to going on real quick, so looking at all these combinations, how many can we make from this? It's almost like permutations. It looks like 20 ish.
I do not know, because I guess we don't know, like, I guess if every single one, I don't know the math of it, but I guess, you know, if nature and nature work and nature and fire work in some way, but we don't know, would nature and fire have a permutation, like because they're sort of against each other, but maybe they do. Like
the maximum, if they all bond, I think it would be somewhere around 20.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. Question for Kieran. All right, classes. Illuvials are grouped into one of 5 classes: Fighter, Guardian, Rogue. How do you say that?
Scion. P is probably silent, I would think. Yeah, Scion.
An empath. This part of the game, I have zero idea what this is, so I'm very interested. So, as in many RPGs, the choices you make regarding the class of your Illuvials will affect the outcome of your battles with wild Illuvials. Draft a team, ideally synergistic in qualities and traits that can work well together as a single fighting unit. Ascending forms are so powerful that sometimes they embody 2 classes simultaneously, such as Slayer, which is fighter and rogue together.
Ooh.
Or become stronger in a single class, such as Invoker, which is Scion and Scion together. Okay, that makes sense. So if we were to go back to this Twitter post,
that just totally made the 20 affinities just go exponential.
Yes.
Not literally exponential, but that's way more combinations.
Well, if you're talking about just pure affinities, that's one thing. But then if you're talking about the combination between affinities and classes,
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So this is cool. So you can see here that you've got the Atlas starts with water and Guardian, but then as it evolves, as it fuses, it's water and Harbinger. And then you see the next fuse, it's not water anymore, it's Maelstrom and Harbinger. So whatever Maelstrom is, it's a fuse between another. I'm like.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm very interested in, like, I'm assuming that you can't fuse different Illuvials together. Like, obviously you can't just create completely unique things. There are predetermined Illuvials, but I'm interested of whether you can have a more unique Axodon because you had a Axon that was not it was a water Harbinger and a water something else. Like, I'm interested if there's or if every Axon is a water Harbinger. You know what I mean? And so
yeah, I get what you're saying, but I doubt that.
Yeah, you reckon every Axon's just water Harbinger?
No. I'm saying I doubt that every Axon is a water Harbinger. Really? I think it's I think it's Harbinger.
It is. Look,
FYI.
look. If we eventually develop some sort of community, they're gonna know that I am not a good reader. English was not my best.
That's what I'm here for. It's all good.
I own it. Harbinger. There we go. I was saying Harbinger. There's not even an R there. Okay, so
that's awesome.
Look, I would challenge you on that. I have a feeling that I would most likely lean on that it's going to be water, Harbinger, and that's it. But
then if you look at the one Briar is a water guardian. So if you fuse some water guardians, 3 water guardians together, yeah, you may get water. Although if you look up above, you have nature becomes overgrowth. So I would assume, and fire becomes a inferno. So if you infuse water, I assume that it's going to become something besides water.
Well, it's Maelstrom, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, what's there? You can see that like, if it's following the same pattern as the natures, then it's also, which is like you said, nature, overgrowth, fire, inferno. Well, it's water, Maelstrom. So, but what's
that's big if though.
What? Wait, why is that an if? It's just following a pattern, like, right?
Well, this is just an example. This is just somebody threw some stuff together. Well, I mean, not somebody. Von Neumann threw some artwork together and posted it. But I mean, it's there's no telling what classes and affinities he drew from. So was he trying to display the fact that is the pattern, or did he just grab some stuff and he really wanted to just show the art and what the cards are going to look like?
And that's true.
And
we can take it with a grain of salt for sure.
Right.
If I was taking these factually, where my questions still come from is that this ram fight becomes a slayer, right? And the Ramphany is a rogue, and so within the overview it says that fighter and rogue become a slayer, and so I'm curious of whether there is a fighter version of Ramphany, and then they both within the they fuse together to create a slayer ram fight.
So if you say the fighter, so my understanding is that we actually choose the class. So as in many RPGs, the choices you make regarding the class of your Illuvials will affect the outcome of your battles with the wild Illuvials. Draft a team ideally synergistic in qualities and traits that can work together as a single fighting unit. So I think we have some choice over that part. And if you look above too, it says choose wisely. So there may be some kind of a choice. Yeah.
Wow. You know what?
So that changes.
I did not think that. I thought, because I'm so used to NFTs, right, being they are what they are. Like,
right.
They're very just like locked in. But I guess I can't look at these images as NFTs. Because what they said is this is UI. So these aren't the NFTs. This is just UI. And so I guess UI can just change.
Right.
But
so
I'm assuming would be that the underlying attributes of that Axodon that you have, does that Axodon have like the class that you have picked for it, and it will follow it for the rest of its life because you created that Axodon?
Yes.
And then it
will follow that
NFT for the rest of its life.
So I think what my thought process and the way I envision this is that when you go to battle, you knock a creature out. When you knock the creature out, you try to capture it. If your shard works and you capture it, right then and there you have to make some choices that are going to be some hard choices because it can totally affect your team. It could affect the outcome of your future in the game, depending on what you need. And once you make those choices, that thing is minted on the blockchain that way, based on your choices. That is the way I envision it. I don't know if that's actually how it's done, but
we need our boy Kieran.
Yes. But that would be the coolest way, I think. Not just because I said it. Yeah. But that's probably how it is.
Man, so many questions. So many questions. My goodness.
Yeah, we can dig. They're probably out there. The answers are probably out there. Eventually we will find them.
Okay, so yeah, well, oh man, are you a good note taker?
Yeah, I can be.
Because I'm not. I'm such a bad note taker.
I can take some notes. What do you want me to do?
I reckon you take any of these questions. We need to find the answers to these things because we want to own this game. All right. Okay, so we do.
Here, I'm gonna put it in our Illuvium collective, and I'm gonna put questions at the bottom.
Man, I can smell fire.
That's not good.
Well, I live right near the bush, so it could just be backburning. So, do you know what backburning is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we move on to the Illuviary, which I assume is going to be like the Pokedex. So, after the crash, you stumble upon Almanac. The word Illuviary scrawled across it. One of your people must have landed here long ago. Inside, you find an index of every Illuvial found across Illuvium, but all locked. Yep, exactly. All locked, bro. You gotta find them and unlock it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I reckon this is another question, bro. If you unlock, if every single Illuvium in the Illuviary, do you get something in game?
That would be cool.
I reckon you will. I reckon you will. To unlock the entries, you must find and capture the Illuvials and record their digital signature into the Illuviary. If you are the first in the universe to discover a particular digital signature, your name will forever appear next to your discovery in the worldwide Illuviary database. But this digital signature contains far more than just their biology. It just might be the key to unlocking the mystery of Illuvium. I forget that there's a story here. Like, we might actually be enthralled with just the story and not actually trying to make money on our NFTs and try and beating each other.
I like the story. Yeah. I do.
From its inception, we envisioned Illuvium to be a game of discovery and mystery. As such, on release, there will be no public information in advance regarding many of the Illuvials in the world. I wonder whether they wrote this before all the leaks started happening.
Well, so if you think about it, though, so overall, granted, I haven't counted these, but if I had to approximate, I would say they probably have only released, maybe 10 characters?
No, I think that there's definitely
maybe 15.
No,
there's definitely not more than 20.
I heard in a podcast that there was more than 20.
Really?
Yeah, like released, like just snippets, like so. Man,
well, so even if you say that, and if you say so, there's going to be anywhere between 100 and 150. So I know Kieran's really pushing for 150. Everyone else is there's at least 100.
Yeah.
Right. So somewhere between 100 and 150. So let's say 120. We'll take the low end of the estimates, or the upper limit. um, and you said 20, there's still 100 unknowns. I mean, there's a lot to discover.
Oh, yes. And to be honest, we don't know anything about them. We don't know how rare they are. We don't know so much. Like, I have so many questions I'm looking forward to figuring out on day one.
Oh, tons. And not to mention, if you look at the tiers, so I mean, each character, as you tier up, they change. So, and really, if you go back through the leaks and look at the tiers that have been released, there definitely hasn't been the same amount of character leaks as there has been tier leaks. Let's say that backwards, but so way more character leaks than there are tier leaks.
Right. But tiers don't have anything to do with like the look, or you know what I mean? Like,
I think they do actually, though. So, and I thought and so this is another question. Yeah. So I know there's 5 tiers, and this is why I was talking earlier, because I thought as you tier up, your character actually evolves.
No, but that's fusing.
But doesn't that change the tier?
I don't think so, because you look at this post, and I'm very sure that big bold one at the top right is the tier, and you can have a tier 1 Axodon.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's going to be a visual difference.
But can you, or is it a level 1? So these are more questions that I have.
I don't know if there are levels. What? Sorry, there are. Wait,
there are levels.
I think that's a 16. I honestly do, because what does that 16 mean? Like, because there's definitely not 16 tiers. So.
No. I think the level makes sense for the 16.
Yeah.
But. And I see what you're saying about the tiers,
and it does actually say that once you hit the level threshold, then you need to fuse. So it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, we need a game manual here.
So the question that you're pretty much asking is when, like, can I take tier 1 atlases, get 3 of them together, level them up to their threshold, and then when I then go ahead and fuse them, will I get a tier 2? And I am pretty sure that's a big old no.
Yeah, so I have no idea. And it may be a big old no. But then it makes me wonder what is the tier system used for?
It's battle power. It's so you're like a tier 5. Remember, we can take tier 0, and we'll talk about this in another video where we go about what the first day will look like. You're going to, everyone is going to go in all at the same time. No Illuvials have been minted. And then we're going to go into a tier 0 space where where it's completely free to play. It's a free area to be. And then you go verse tier 1 Illuvials, like if you want to level up with your leveled up. Sorry, if you want to build a stronger team, there's a cap on how high of a level you can get with the tier, right? So you can max out your atlas to, let's say, level 20, and it's tier 0. It can't get any stronger, maybe outside of fusing it together. So then eventually, let's say you got an Axodon. Well, then you got to go to the tier 1 area where tier 1 Illuvials are, but you can only get to a tier 1 area by buying a travel ticket and having a tier 1 shard. And so I don't think you can at all. No, I am sure that you cannot get a tier 1 in the free to play area. You can't catch them. So you definitely can't evolve tier 0s into tier 1s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but so
you could verse a tier 1 atlas versus a tier 0 atlas, and a tier 1 atlas, because you're trying to figure out the difference between the two, right? That's your question.
Right.
And I believe it's battle power. I believe that their attack, their defense, everything is just exponentially bigger.
But at some point, there's a threshold, right? Because you can take tier 0 creatures and go into the tier 1 part of the world.
Yep.
And if you've leveled them up enough, and I don't know what that threshold is, then you can beat a tier 1 creature with your tier 0 creatures.
Yes, but remember, this game, the battle system isn't 1v1 like Pokemon. It is your team versus one.
Right.
So then your one fully leveled up Atlas tier 0 will not be able to verse by itself probably a level 1 tier 1 Atlas. I reckon that the power of the level 1 tier 1 Atlas will be more than the maxed out leveled tier 0 Atlas, right? So then how do you beat the Atlas? Well, you have more of them versing one, and you team up against it to beat it down, and then you have to get the shard and you take it down. I'm pretty dang sure of that, bro. But they're good questions.
Yeah. So actually, and it brings up another question. So, and I do not know the answer, and I have not read it anywhere. I assumed it's 3, and I don't know why the number is 3 that comes to my head. How many creatures can you have on your team? Like, can I go to battle one creature with 5?
In my head, it's 5. I have no idea. In Pokemon, it's 6. And maybe we'll find it as we go through the game overview.
Right. Maybe.
And in team fight tactics, basically you level up your person in a game, and as you level up your person in that one match, you get more spots to bring more in. But you're also getting more fighters throughout the match, so it's just different. So that's not a good comparison. I would be thinking that this is more like, I don't know. I feel 5, but have we seen any fighting that's had more than 5? Like, there are some gameplay, and I don't think I've seen more.
I think so. I saw the leak that I saw. I think only had 3 creatures first one, and maybe that's where that number stuck in my head.
Well, let's go on to the section that says, "How do I play?" Maybe we will find it.
Let's do it.
All right. So how do I play? Start by customizing your character. Then select your polymorphic subordinate drone. Hope is cute. Once you and your sidekick are ready, I just bet there are going to be skins for our little sidekick drone. I bet we can customize him and make him look sick, and there'll be NFTs as well.
That's what I was saying. So like I was saying before, I feel like the polymorphic subordinate drone is going to be similar to like the dump trucks in
what? The dump trucks of what?
Little Help. What Command and Conquer, where you mine the ore. So your subordinate drone kind of goes out into this world and it starts mining all these different resources. I don't know if have you ever played Command and Conquer?
No.
So old school, and it was very similar to maybe Warcraft 3 in the style of gameplay. And we would set up a camp basically, and then your dump truck would have to kind of go out and mine ore, and that's how you would get money to build your barracks and build your factory so that you can produce all these different militants to go out and conquer.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that, because I have been curious of how you would mine these resources, and I don't think we've got into it yet, and we will. But the Pokeballs that are called shards in this game, they you don't just go and find them and collect them necessarily, like, and if you do, it's not very often. It's through mining. It's through like doing some sort of mining in the game well, they're shards, right? They're so they sound like a mineral that you would mine. So and who would do it? Is it your character?
And you got to cure them.
Yeah,
right.
Or give him some energy. You need to give him some energy or something. Oh, geez, you're already feeling the philosophy of their gameplay mind.
I am. I'm trying to already calculate the strategies we need.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so next, once you and your sidekick are ready, you can then head out to explore the various regions of the world and the mysteries that shattered it. As you adventure, you encounter Illuvials that you can fight. If you subdue them, use a shard to snap them up so they are yours permanently. Boom, boom, boom. That's the blockchain for you.
That's awesome. Yep.
Be careful though. Shards have varying power levels. Less powerful shards are likely to fail against powerful Illuvials. What I like about that comment, it's likely to fail, but it's not 100%. There might
it's
be
not
like
100%. Right.
It might be like a 95, like a 5% chance that you still could catch with a lower tier shard, which I'm like, ooh, that's a cool, that's spicy, because you're like,
right. So the game, love that. But the game changer is if you are unprepared for battle, you go in with a low shard and you come across a very rare creature that you wish you had a very high shard, or the highest shard you could possibly go into battle with to secure that creature. Because otherwise you're taking a 5%, like, let's say you have a 5% chance of capturing it. Well, you have a 95% chance of losing it. And maybe that's the rarest creature you ever came across in your life at that point.
Yeah.
Like, that could be game changing. I would be kicking myself for a month.
I'm going to be so like overly prepared, and if anything, there's going to need to be strategy guides created for this game.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, strategy.
Where it's just like, what type of team will you need to be prepared enough to capture? Because you don't want it, like, you could be like, yes, I've got the money and the tier 3 shards, to go into the tier 3 area, right? But then your team isn't able to beat a really rare, high-powered Illuvial. So then you will find it and you will kick yourself, because you will not be able to make it faint, because your team's not good enough. And so there's going to be this like element of like, you're going to be wanting to play and level up your team like as much as possible before you go into the next tier, because there is a real risk that you could encounter an awesome Illuvial and not be able to catch it. So there'll be this like, there'll be strategy of like, what, I see the YouTube video of like, what levels should you be, what team do you need to be able to to successfully conquer tier 2 or something like that, and onwards.
Let's say you did knock them out though. Let's say your team was awesome, you knocked them out, but you were carrying a terrible shard. You had a level 1 shard and you were facing a higher creature, and I would say level 2, but I don't know if that's how it actually works. But regardless, your shard is not powerful enough to capture them. So you knock this creature out and then you can't capture them. You're going to be very upset, especially if it was like a holographic creature. Oh my God, dude.
Well, okay, so this is the question.
Show me the nearest bridge. I'm jumping.
Okay. So then, all right. I want you. This is a question I need you to write down. For old mate Kieran, that we will have one day. I'm just speaking it out. We're gonna have an interview with that man. You know, and I'm pretty sure he's in Sydney. So maybe I'll just go knock on his door. But this is the question I would ask him: is mid battle. Can I, because we're all on the blockchain here, mid battle? No, the scenario you had, this guy, he's fainted, right? And I'm like,
yep.
And let's say that I have, like, you know, I'm in a tier 3 area and I have a tier 3 shard. But did you know what? A tier 4, like there is still a potential to fail with a tier 3 shard. I'm pretty sure. Like, and so then, like in a T3 area, so then you might actually want to use a tier 4 shard.
For sure.
So the question is, can you go to market, quickly jump on your browser, quickly buy a tier 4 shard, and then it slots itself into the wallet and
bring it into the game? Yes, that's an interesting concept. Okay, so we need to know how fast can marketplace items be brought into the game?
Well, I think that will be instant because, dude, we've dealt with Immutable X before and it's fast.
No, but
yeah, I don't think it's about speed. I think it's about whether they gate it or not, because they might just be like...
Which is speed. That's what I'm talking about. We know we're not talking about blockchain here. We're talking about gameplay. So for gameplay, how fast can marketplace items be brought into the game? They might block it, exactly like you said. So that's not very fast. So I guess
I guess I wouldn't use speed.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're on Immutable X. We know everything is going to happen very fast, and it can be brought into the game. So speed, yeah. I mean, I can change the terminology of the question if you like.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm being.
But me and you know what the question means, because we know that we're talking about are they going to put some kind of blockade up to our purchases? Will it be like, hey, you bought it, you have to wait an hour? That way, any current battles, you know, and that seems reasonable, or even a half an hour.
And is there a time limit to how long, like, do you only have a minute to decide what shard you're going to use?
Right. Like, so these are all, these are powerful questions.
Like
for the speculative mind.
Because imagine if you had this time sensitive, like, you know, decision to make. I would stress out. I've got a shiny in front of me. I've got like a $100 tier 5 shard, you know, and I'm like, well, of course I'm going to use if I had found the shiny, I would be using the highest shard that I possibly had, even if it was worth $1,000, because that shiny is going to be worth tens of thousands of dollars, probably hundreds, to be honest.
Somebody, and look, we're calling it out right now. Somebody is gonna pay 100 Ethereum for a shiny Illuvium. Someone will pay 100 Ethereum for a shiny, or no, actually, let's say holographic. So holographic's higher than shiny, right? So we'll go holographic Illuvial. Someone's gonna pay 100 Ethereum at some point in the next 5 years.
100 Ethereum. Wait.
Right now is worth. Yeah, that looks right.
322,000. I honestly feel like more than that.
So I'm saying in the next 5 years. So
we're popping.
And I changed it from, I was saying shiny, I meant for a holographic one. Yeah. Because I assume that's probably higher rank than a shiny, I would assume.
Yeah, I think so. But that's different to Pokemon, where there's just shinies. Oh, you know what? That is so interesting. Is that you referenced that these guys talked about EVs, that it's similar to Pokemon. You need to send me that pod. Oh, you did send me that podcast. I need to listen to it.
I did.
But EVs are like these underlying attributes that you don't actually see on the face value of Pokemon. So you get 2 level 1 Squirtle, level 5 Squirtles, and on face value, you'd go, they have the same stats, but they don't. Underlying in the Pokemon data, there is actually stats behind them that you don't see. I played Pokemon forever as a kid, and I had zero idea about this. But once you get competitive and you start finding out that each Pokemon is genuinely unique. And you said that they referenced that that's what they're doing with this game. Oh, my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got to keep moving on. So
let's do it.
For players just starting out, you will be able to mine free shards that are only capable of capturing a select few Illuvials that are far less powerful than some. But you will be able to get started in the game without any expense and learn the mechanics. So free to play, baby.
Yep.
We feel this is a welcome change from the games that require a large amount of capital up front to play. There are and so that's similar to like Axie. Once Axie sort of got hyped, I was like, well, let's see if I can get into this game. I like to have a little play. And
how much did it cost you? How much would it?
700 and something US
exactly.
dollars. That's like $1,000 in Australian dollars. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Not so much. Yeah.
Not for a game that I haven't played. Like I like, this is nice. You get to play it, you get to feel it, you get to see it. And to be honest, if you really want to, there'll be people out there that want to buy like tier 0 Illuvials, and so you could grind out the free to play area and still put those, like, they're still NFTs. Those tier
for
zeros
sure
are NFTs, and you can still sell them. I'm sure that there will be a market for it. It may be a big, massive grind, but there may be.
In what also comes, so we don't even know the rarity on those, right? So are those minted forever? Like, are they just endless tier 0 Alluvials? I don't know that answer. Well, right, that's another question.
I'm sure that they're subject to the same type of what did they call it? It's the way that it tapers off. How many are going?
Oh, you're talking about the bonding?
Yeah, the bonding curve. The bonding curve.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, the bonding curve, the way that, like, so these Illuvials, all of them, and I'm pretty sure it would be still like tier 0 would probably. Well, I don't know. That is an interesting one, especially with free to play. You'd probably want
so
more to be circulating.
So it does bring up interesting questions that need to be answered by Kieran or any of the members that know. But so are they a specific subset? And this is what Gods Unchained does, is they have a specific set of core cards. So are there some core characters that just don't really ever need to change? But if they do it in sets, the way that they're talking about now, when that set changes, the onboarding characters would have to change too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I haven't seen anything about that anywhere.
Yeah. We'll chat to Kieran. If there's any community members out there that want to jump on a call with us, we'll definitely do that as well. Like, seriously, community, we don't need Kieran. We can dish that guy if we really want to. All right. So let's go on. So there are many regions to explore, but most will be inaccessible to the first generation of players. Over time, players will unlock obelisks, which allow for travel to new, beautiful, challenging, and important regions that come with new Illuvials to battle and collect and shed more light on the enigma that happened here. Now, in-game purchases, Ethereum, is used for all in-game purchases, and the fees are sent directly to the Illuvium Vault. And like we chatted before in part 1, the Illuvium Vault is basically just filling up with all the revenue. Just imagine it's a pool of just revenue just pulling in from all the fees, all the things that people are buying with Ethereum or with SILV, the native token. And then like, you know, a few times a day at random points with the Ethereum, it buys up ILV, and then the vault will have all of this ILV, and it will distribute it to everyone who is staking in their basically a savings account with extremely good interest. So that's what the Illuvium Vault is, from what I understand. Now but this is what, so like when you're looking at these purchases, I'm looking at it as a staker, right? That's going, so these are all the revenues that are going to be coming in, you know, but also as a gameplay person, as someone that's playing the game, you've also got a way to look at it as well. So where I have to pay some money, which I may not like to, but you know, if we're making that good coin through staking, that basically the staking is just like, if you have enough, is going to be paying for the game for you, which is passively, which is pretty sweet.
Quite a bit.
So you'll be able to buy shard curing, imbues, that's modification or various elements of the game such as weapons or drones, whatever that is, wagering in battles, Illuvium revival, so medical fees, obelisk travel, and enhancements, powerful stat boosts to Illuvials. I'm interested if they are like permanent stat boosts. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Now, adventuring. For some players, the draw of the game will be traveling across the world and collecting Illuvials. This can be incredibly lucrative, especially if a player manages to capture something rare and powerful. Illuvials will become harder to capture over time as more and more are found. Their capture rate will change because it is fundamentally tied to the number that have been captured thus far. So that's the bonding curve.
That's the bonding curve.
Exactly. Yep. The difficulty to capture Illuvials will grow. So get in early, guys. Get in there with us day one and start catching, because they're going to get harder to catch. There'll be less of them in the world. These guys do not breed. So you got to catch them up. And actually, just to quickly touch on this, you said this before, and it's interesting, is that we'll go back to using Atlas for our example, Illuvial.
Yep.
We use 3 atlases to fuse together to get an axon. Well, eventually atlases are going to get rare. So even if they are technically, even if in the wild, like at the very beginning, axons are so rare compared to atlases, eventually there could be a point where atlases are actually rarer than axons because they've been caught so much, and the bonding curve has gotten to this spot where it's just like rarely showing them. This does bring up a curious question though, of like, they obviously they're on a time restriction with this, depending on how fast the bonding curve sort of pays out. You know, they're going to need to bring in a new generation of Illuvials to be able to be caught, because there's going to be a point where the generation 1 Illuvials the supply of them is going to be is limited.
So I don't think so. Speaking to this, I don't think it's a predetermined supply.
Sorry,
I think it's
like the percentage just goes down basically to the point where it's just like, it's almost impossible, but not impossible. So there's no supply, but it's still a curve.
Well,
okay, go on.
Yeah. So I was thinking it was a curve, but I was also thinking they can kind of start that curve or ignite that curve to the point where they get enough people, there's enough characters out there, then they can hit the start button and that curve actually begins. Now, I could be 100% wrong on that. It could start from day one, but the problem is how do they know? What if 1 million people start on day one? They could be way short of the amount of creatures they need. Or alluvials. Creatures. I reduced them to creatures.
Well, I guess though that's just where they just have to take. I actually think it's going to be like that from day one. And
so if it's like that from day one, man, that is they better have their estimations right, is all I got to say.
I think they have the ability to be generous. Because
I agree with that, but but I think they also like rarity.
Yes, but like if this game is going to be a game, like it's living on the blockchain, it's managed by a DAO. It basically doesn't have a lifespan if the game is good. Like it's not going to end. You know what I mean? Like so like they're thinking so unbelievably long term that it just really isn't.
But so let's put ourselves in their shoes. We have 74,000, 75,000 people in our Discord. We have $300 something million staked. How many characters do we need? How many Illuvials of each? I guess how many? I don't want to call them classes because classes is something else. But how many species of Illuvials do we need? That's a tough question to answer because you have no clue how many people are going to join this game. So when do you start the bonding curve?
But that's like I guess they could delay it, and maybe there's already a governance discussion about this. I think that they could put it day one. I really do, but I think they could just have a lot, and all that would happen is that a lot of people will just keep catching these Illuvials, and they won't be that rare at the beginning. But they'll keep catching, and they'll be fusing them together, and they will be like the supply of the Atlas will go down a lot, and so it will, like, as long as people play the game, so it's not even like, so I think that they just need to be really overly generous. They'll get a really good grid, and then the next generations after that will be a bit more calculated because they'll know their player base. And to be honest,
it makes sense.
And the thing is that this is like the model of game needs to be like we can look at it similar to other games, like let's say Fortnite or I'm just trying to remember. There's like
I was gonna go back to card games. So like you were saying earlier, so the psychology of card games, they already have a predetermined amount that they're gonna create for every card, right? For the most part, when you talk about the physical world, and
I think until there's a point where they decide they stop printing. I wouldn't be sure that they know at the beginning, depending on how.
Right, so because it's hard to determine that because you have no idea how many people are going to buy into it, which is what I'm saying about this. So the bonding curve and how difficult that could be because you could drastically underestimate or overestimate. So that is, I feel like, a strong question that I would love to ask to Kieran or the core developers or anyone.
Yep, we'll ask the question. We will ask the question. You write that down.
Writing it down.
Moving on, the difficulty to capture Illuvials will grow, and as you adventure and encounter Illuvials in the wild, your current team, including yourself, will grow in power. Now, battle arenas. Other players will choose to battle each other to prove who is the superior hunter. These players will queue in a ranked arena where they can be matched with a random opponent of a similar skill, or call out other players in ad hoc wager matches in the Leviathan arena. Other players will be able to spectate and wager on the outcomes. They'll be able to spectate on them and wager on them. Oh, I honestly thought that the wagering was actually just between you and and the person that you're versing, but people can actually watch.
No, other people can. Yes,
and that's going to be built in straight away.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me?
Dude, we're going to be able to run actual tournaments. And because this is another source of revenue for the game, because
big time.
Because random people are just random organizations, like let's say us, Ultrasound. We have an Ultrasound tournament, and and somehow we attract a group of people to want to be a part of it. Well, while that's happening, people are going to be watching, and if they want to, they can wager. Who's going to win against other people.
Right.
Like, it's just, you can just go ahead and just bet. Like, there's going to be a betting system.
You can bet on other people.
And there'll be fees that will go back into the vault, which will be revenue and distributed to everyone who's staking. That is sick.
Yeah, and what also comes with this, which I feel like they kind of failed to mention, but I think it's important because when you think of real life, I mean, stats come with this. So, if you're going to bet on someone, you want to know everything about that someone. How many games have they played? How many times have they won? Like, what is their statistics against the other person? What are the odds that they're going to win? And I feel like that's an important part that they should include in their documentation. In granted, you could say, "Oh, that's common sense," but it's not for the layman.
Yeah. My goodness, this is so cool. How about we tackle just one more thing, the Illuvidex, and then I reckon like this one's gone on for a little while, so we'll have to have a part 3, bro. I'm excited.
Let's do it. Me too.
So to finish this off, the Illuvidex. This is the Illuvium Exchange. The Illuvium Exchange is an online marketplace governed by the Illuvium DAO for players to buy and sell in all in-game NFTs. The major component of the Illuvidex is the trading of Illuvials, but all NFTs found in the game can be traded there. So this is, as short as that is potent. And so,
very.
And this is important because immutable, so on Ethereum, there are a bunch of DApps out there, decentralized apps like OpenSea, Rarible, that manage the buying and selling of NFTs and viewing of them as well. But on Immutable X, which is a side chain, it doesn't have that they may not never even have the open type of oh no, they would, because we actually Token Trove. I've chatted to the guys from Token Trove, and they are basically like a marketplace of sorts for stuff on Immutable X. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, I'm wrong about that.
Yep.
But basically, I was just going to say these guys have created their own exchange so that it's already they're not relying on some third party to create this. But what is so cool about this whole thing, and yes, guys, I just realized I'm so not I've already been critical of my judgment of this game, and now I'm just on the froth side of it. I'm just so stoked and so excited.
Yes.
For it. So these videos are just these guys are so positive about this game. Is there any sort of critique that they have? It's I've already done my critiquing. I'm all in right now. I'm done.
Yeah.
And the thing about this is that everything about this game is governed by the DAO, and so it's just a totally different way to think of it. The big corporate body that governs a normal game is trying to extract value out of that, because it's capitalism, and it's in most cases it's fine, but it can be perverted and done wrong and done in ways that are just not good for the player. But this DAO is a collective of people who own a stake in the actual revenue, so they don't want to make bad decisions. So it's just so cool that they get to actually, it's not like the big team owns the marketplace, it's the DAO that owns the marketplace. And so it's actually it's a decentralized marketplace, but it's taken care of by the people that care about Illuvium the most, which is just like, so that's why
Huge.
it's actually normally like third parties are good because it democratizes it, but it's already democratized but focused from the Illuvium community. Like,
yes.
So it's really cool that it's like, it's actually a built exchange for Illuvium. Look, I ran it. Is there anything you wanted to say about the decks?
No. I think that you just nailed it. I mean, I think it's awesome. And, you know, when you look at the decks, again, of course, it's not all about the money, but for the people who are here for the money, you can literally play the game, you can win assets within the game, and then you can go to the decks and sell your assets.
Yeah.
So that is huge compared to
all
playing
NFTs.
any game out there that is not on the blockchain, that is not decentralized. You can't do that. You can't do that with Fortnite. You can't do that with Call of Duty. You can't do that with any PlayStation, Xbox game out there. This is game changing.
Yes. And the thing is that there are, like, I'm pretty sure like CSGO, there is like, you can sort of buy and sell the skins for CSGO, but that's where the value of decentralization actually comes in, because there is nothing stopping, from what I understand. Well, even if this is wrong about CSGO, this like, it may be right for any of the other games that are like this. That yes, the skins can be bought and sold, because which they're touching on something that's, I think, important for players. But what is stopping them from going back and just producing a bunch of this rare item? Now they probably won't, because their incentives is to make sure that people are, their player base is happy. But if they're going to make some, like, they may find other ways to extract value, like through things like that. Whereas it's the Illuvium DAO, that's a multitude of people, like hundreds of thousands of people, that will govern whether something would get a little bit more diluted or get more scarce. Like, they're the ones that decide all of this stuff. It's so it's super cool. It's
it's totally, man. I think it's literally it changes the game.
it does. And I think my froth levels for all of this is not just because it's not just Illuvium. It's me as a gamer, been gamer just like for forever, and I'm seeing this and I'm going, this is not just this game, this is the future of gaming, and it's unbelievably exciting. Like, it is just like, I was always a little bit scared of what it would look like for the multiverse and for people to sort of like leave reality into a game. I thought it was just going to be like VR and you're just like, you've lost, and that'll come. And I don't like that. I'm not the type of person to like that. I really am just like grateful for the world that God's given us, and I think that we should just appreciate it, and it's healthy for us to be out in nature and be in the real sun and take care of our actual physical bodies. Like, so that's where my value is. But what actually got me excited about this is that it's just like, it's actually taking so much of the world and putting it digital, but it's not taking it so far that I like want to necessarily live in it. Like, it only complements my real world. Like, yes, people can get addicted to it, like any other game, book, whatever. You know, you could get addicted to another world if you wanted to, but like, I feel like this is just bringing in all the best parts of it, like of the real world, and just making it fun. Like, you know, or making even some of the worst parts of the world and making it fun. They're taking the financial systems and then bringing it into this and making it fun. Like, and
exactly.
So it's just like, that's exciting. So yeah, well, look, that is the end of this this show. We will have a part 3 because we've still got mining and harvesting, shards, weapons, armor, and imbues, which I would love to keep going, but look, we've been going for another hour, and I love it. It's sick, and I'm so grateful, Josh, that we can just chat about it. But let's just say our goodbyes, and we'll come back with part 3. So see you guys.
Sounds good.